Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you all for being here. It's great to have you guys. Happy Friday to all of you who've been laboring away throughout the week to make it to your weekend. The good news is you made it. Before going any further, a special thank you to Naysay and Scotty Lopez for having me as a guest in the last hour of Freaky Friday to honor Kev Baker and his passing. This is our first show following Freaky Friday without Kev, but I know he's here in spirit. He's had to have been right along for the ride during that Freaky Friday show. It was a wonderful show. A lot of people sharing memories and talking about the man that touched all of our lives, and what an honor it was to not only be his friend and not only be a colleague of Kev's, but to share the same network and to follow his show on Friday nights was and is amazing. And it's been a sincere pleasure. He did so much to enrich what I do here on the Portal, and he was my mentor, whether he knew it or not. In a lot of ways, just for general broadcasting. He and Chris Geo were two of my role models that I checked a lot. I watched a lot just to see how to do this thing called hosting a show, because when I started, I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. So, of course, I will try to continue to bring the magic that Kev taught me. I will try to bring that to the shows, and hopefully I can do do an honor to his memory in that regard, that he will live on in some way through the portal. But I'm not alone here tonight. I have my very firstborn branch of my family tree is right here with me, and this is, of course, my little man, my boy, Mr. Sheldon Thomas. Welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
I'm sorry, little man. Can we back up and do that again?
I am still taller than you, even though you're grown. I'm still taller. You're littler than me.
By like an inch.
Whatever, okay, dude. I'm taking.
Other than that fact, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
As my joints compress with age, you can have the title, and you can call me your little dad or whatever. But for now, I'm still taller.
I don't know about that. I don't know about those words exiting my mouth.
Well, maybe not those words, but I will just call you my son after you're taller. Is that a deal?
That's a great idea. Okay. That's a great idea.
So for now, deal with it. Get some therapy or something, dude.
Right on that.
But welcome to the Friday show here on the Paranormal Portal. As always, we are absolutely amped and excited to be here with you guys. Thank you to those of you who are here and taking part of the journey with us. It's an incredible journey, as always. Special notice, I want to point this out again, and I'll be posting the promo after the show tonight, because I used to post show promos well in advance, but I would get people messing them up like, oh, I thought that person was on tonight. No. So I always post them after the show, before the next show, as much as I can. Sometimes I'm just not as organized as I need to be. But tomorrow night, joining me here on the show with Don will be Mr. Lon Strickler of the Phantoms and Monsters fame, and also the creator and host of Arcane Radio will be joining me right here on the live show. And it should be just amazing and epic. I'm really looking forward to it because Lon, of course, has been just a solid figure in the paranormal and 40 in realms forever. And his Phantoms and Monsters page has been an iconic site for ages for people to go find out what's going on in the world of the paranormal. So he's going to be on the show tomorrow night, and we're going to talk about all the strange stuff we can squeeze into 2 hours. But I would hope that many of you all will tune in and join us. And that, again, is tomorrow night right here on the Paranormal Portal, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mr. Lon Strickler will be joining me on the show. So, Sheldon, how you been? First of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm doing great. It's a Friday. Can't complain. Yeah. Excited for the weekend. And next week's starting school. Gearing up for that. And I'm all set and ready to go.
Well, fantastic. And this is your first portal of the new year, right?
Yeah. Another year, another portal.
Are you nervous? Are you okay? You good?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing great. I'm
okay.
Ready.
All right. I know it's been a while, so I just want to make sure. But
yeah.
I guess we'll move into the news. What do you think?
I think that's a fantastic idea.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the Paranormal Portal news. Boom. Where is Sheldon? Where is Sheldon? There he is.
Right here.
No, I just didn't have you activated on the screen because I remove your frame when Don is here, of course. So, But when I'm trading you guys out, I got frames all over the place. I got to activate. So, anyway, this is the Paranormal Portal newscast, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be diving into some paranormal articles. Well, at least they're supposed to be. Sometimes they're just new and interesting and fun to talk about. Sometimes they're just absolutely stupid and they're hilarious. And so you get that whole buffet of fun on every newscast, hopefully, if I'm doing my job. But the first article tonight on our newscast is coming from, of course, unexplained-mysteries.com. It's a great site, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Definitely support what they're doing over there because they've got thousands and thousands of articles over there as well. There's like 3 huge sites that I like to promote the hell out of. One of them is unexplained-mysteries.com. The other is Phantoms and Monsters. And, of course, the other one is Mysterious Universe. All of those have been incredible sites, and we've made great friendships with most of them. And so definitely check them out. So the first one tonight is Astronomers. How big is this one? No, this one's not too big. It's astronomers watch red supergiant star explode for the first time. So they've actually seen it. In a world first, astronomers have had the opportunity to watch a red supergiant exploding in real time. It's one of the most destructive events in the known universe, the demise of a supergiant star in the form of a colossal explosion of cosmic proportions. And now, for the first time, astronomers have been given a front row seat to such an event happening right in front of their eyes. The scientists first began to observe the star, which is situated 120 million light years away in the NGC 5731 galaxy. Oh, that one. Sure, of course.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why do they even bother? Just say how far away it is. It's not like I'm going to look it up or stop by. Back in the summer of 2020, but we're surprised to discover a few months later that it had exploded. By pulling together observations from multiple telescopes, the researchers were able to build up a picture of the supernova from before it exploded to a full year afterwards. This is a breakthrough in our understanding of what massive stars do moments before they die, said study leader Wynne Jacobson Galen from the University of California, Berkeley. For the first time, we watched a red supergiant star explode. The team is now hoping to spot further examples to help them learn more about supernovae. Novae, it says Novae. So it's not just supernova, it's novae. It's like watching a ticking time bomb, said study senior author Raffaella Merguti. We've never confirmed such violent activity in a dying red supergiant star where we could see it produce such a luminous emission and then collapse and combust until now. Yeah, that's, it's kind of like fireworks. They're fun from a distance, but if they're too close, that would be absolutely
very true.
Very
also,
terrifying.
I think supernovae. I think that's plural. I think that's maybe the plural.
Yeah, because they were learning about supernovas or supernovae. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep, you were right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So that's the first article up. They watched the star explode. It's no longer theoretical. They know now for sure because they've observed it. So that's kind of cool.
Interesting.
I like science. I really do. I know a lot of people think, are kind of anti-science, but I think science is absolutely exciting. I'm ready for lightsabers and droids and starships. Let's go. I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
Except, if lightsabers ever came out, there would be so many handicapped people all of a sudden. People would be lobbing stuff off all over the place. Hey, watch this. Oops. It's just like a glowing arm is laying on the ground.
Oh, no.
That would happen. It would.
It'd probably be me, yeah.
It worked with the stick. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm all for science, and I'm all for us keep leaping ahead and learning and seeing what we can figure out. I'm also terrified by science. Don't get me wrong. I think that it's a double-edged sword for sure. But anyway, the next article up on our newscast is, once again, Uri Geller, ladies and gentlemen. In another ploy to remain relevant, Uri Geller says he knows where the Ark of the Covenant is. It's in his closet.
Oh, is this that one guy you keep reading stuff about?
Yeah, he's just an idiot. I don't know. He made his fame bending spoons and doing stuff like that, I'm not saying that that's not a real thing. I think it is. I think there is definitely a phenomenon known as telekinesis, and there is psychic phenomena as well that can affect objects. Like he would stop watches and things like that. But he appeared on a show where they kind of set him up because he appeared on, I think it was a Carson show, but The Amazing Randy, who had basically, I think at the time, like $100,000 reward, which went up to $1 million later for absolute proof, if somebody could prove this stuff. And so they had Uri Geller on and then kind of sabotaged him with The Amazing Randy, and Uri couldn't do anything. So it was not a very crowning a moment for Mr. Uri Geller, who had made himself very famous in a very lucrative career of bending spoons. So... Wow. It says Uri Geller knows where the Ark is. Let's see. Just ask Indiana Jones, right? Yeah. It says the Israeli spoon bender. So that's what he's known for. That's awesome. Is no stranger to making out their claims, as evidenced by his most recent example. The golden chest believed to have held the stone tablets of which the 10 Commandments were inscribed. The Ark remains one of the most sought after and mystifying religious artifacts in history. For years, researchers have attempted to determine where it might be, or even if it still exists at all. Its last known location was King Solomon's Temple, but when the Babylonians conquered Jerusalem, the temple was destroyed and the ark disappeared along with it. It's okay, though, because now Uri Geller believes he has figured out where it is. The Israeli psychic, who is well known for bending metal spoons, wrote in a recent tweet that he knows where the ark is located and that he intends to go and find it. Oh my God, it's like Geraldo Rivera Part 2, who he was going to go over to Iraq and get Saddam Hussein. He's a reporter.
Oh God!
I know where the Ark of the Covenant is, and I will find it. Mark my words, he wrote. It will be an earth-shattering historical tsunami and an archaeological and theological earthquake. Dowsing ancient soap factory I located under my museum gave me the inspiration. Yes, my dear friends, the opposition will be huge, but we will be talking about an item that is holy, and nothing will come in its way to be freed and shock the world into a biblical historical reality. Given that Geller has yet to provide any specific details of this alleged discovery, however, it remains very difficult to corroborate his claim. All things considered, it is in fact highly unlikely that he has any idea where the ark is at all. Oh, yeah, he's having one made. Here it is. Where's the price tag still on? Never mind. That's it was in my pocket. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if he legitimately finds it and they corroborate it is the actual thing, then all right, I'll worship Uri Geller. All right, that's it.
Worship Uri Geller? No.
He's the new prophet of the world, obviously.
You too could bend spoons, Sheldon. I don't think he's probably got any clue. Now there's ideas. There's ideas that it might be on Oak Island. There's ideas that, or maybe that was just the Grail, the Holy Grail, was on Oak Island, but maybe the Ark of the Covenant has been rumored to be there. There's a temple in Ethiopia where there's some people believe it may be, and where it's claimed by the theologians in control of that temple that it is, and they don't let anybody in it at all, that the Ark of the Covenant is there. It's hard to say. Could be any number of places or nowhere at all. But of course, the legend of the Ark of the Covenant is that whoever holds it and produces it in battle will always be victorious. It is a weapon of God, quote unquote. So it is, it's no small thing. That there's plenty of people that would love to have had it. And I'm sure the Germans probably exhausted all resources during World War II to try to find it, because that was a big thing for the Nazis to do. So,
okay, but here's the real question.
Sure.
Does that include battles in the bathroom?
Yeah, I'm gonna just not, I don't know. Maybe. Although I would just recommend fiber. You just eat some cereal, you'll be fine probably. You don't need the Ark of the Covenant, just saying. Twisted little man.
Rachel says, okay, he found the Ark, but where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah. That was an old video game. That was awesome. It was a text-based video game. It was very cool. Because it required you to have some geography knowledge and some, social studies knowledge and stuff, and history knowledge as well. So it was a very educational game. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Yeah, I don't think he knows that either, Rachel. I'm going to go out on a limb and just say nope. Here's one that's pretty interesting. And this is talking about the Shackleton's expedition. And apparently there's a new effort underway to try to find it. It says, new expedition will search for Shackleton's ship 100 years after his death. The expedition set out later this year to search for the final resting place of the Endurance. 100 years ago, on January 5th of this year, one of the world's greatest explorers, Ernest Shackleton, died during his final expedition to the Antarctic in the age of just 47. He was best known, however, for his 1915 expedition aboard the Endurance. Shackleton had aimed to lead the first ever land crossing of the Antarctic continent. However, the plan was abandoned after a loss of his vessel left he and his crew stranded in the middle of nowhere. Man, that would suck, because you're on your own back then. After spending months camped on drifting sea ice, the crew ended up on Elephant Island, an isolated location hundreds of miles from the nearest settlement or shipping route, In an effort to find help, Shackleton and his few of his men set out across the ocean in a tiny boat to reach the island of South Georgia, which was situated approximately 720 nautical miles away. After several perilous weeks at sea, they finally arrived on the island. Shackleton and two of his men then had to cross the mountainous terrain of the island on foot to reach the occupied whaling station. Incredibly, in the end, every single member of his crew was rescued. Wow, what a hero. The final resting place of this ship, however, still remains a mystery more than a century later, but now a new expedition will be setting out to sail this year in a bid to find the wreck once and for all. To locate it, researchers will use artificial intelligence to analyze the seabed some 3,000 feet down, describing the Endurance as basically the most historic shipwreck in the world as yet undiscovered. The BBC's Dan Show, they called it the Dan Show, okay, who will be accompanying the expedition, hopes that it will still be in relatively good condition due to the cold temperatures in the region. We hope it's going to be in good condition because it's extremely cold down there. It's very difficult for life forms to survive down there, he said. Yeah. Well, good luck to them. I hope they find it. It's not really paranormal news, but it's kind of cool.
Interesting, at the very least.
I think it's interesting, right? I think so. But let's continue. We got more, but wait, there's more. And what more? Well, let's get to it. The next one on our list is having to do with some new discoveries in Machu Picchu, which is kind of cool. For those of you that don't know, that's one of the areas that some people use as an example of potentially having evidence of the alien astronaut theory, rather. And
what's that theory?
Well, basically the idea is that they must have had help by some advanced civilization or intelligence to develop what they developed down there, because this is a culture, basically a Bronze Age or Brass Age culture that had these amazing engineering feats from carved stone with precise laser-like fittings. Like, they would be hard today with our best tools to reproduce what they produced with apparently bronze chisels and hammers. So, I don't know. But let's see what it says. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Previously unknown structures found near Machu Picchu. Oh, that's Machu Picchu. Is that what I said before?
I don't remember.
I maybe I was thinking of Puma Punka. Well, I don't know. Sorry, folks, if I misrepresented all of that. But Machu Picchu, of course, is a very famous ancient location as well. Drones equipped with LiDAR have made new discoveries in the Machu Picchu National Park. Built high up in the Andes Mountains in the Incan civilization over 500 years ago, Machu Picchu remains one of the most fascinating and popular visitor attractions in all of Peru. The site, as well as the surrounding Machu Picchu National Park, also remains a prime target for archaeological exploration, with new discoveries still being made on a regular basis. One such discovery was made recently by a team of archaeologists from the University of Warsaw in Poland, who used drones kitted out with LiDAR, light detection and ranging, to investigate the area around the Incan complex of Cachabamba. Cachabamba. I detect a new chat name coming. A ceremonial center with a focus on water. Yeah, that's right. Machu Picchu is way up on the mountain. It's like on this mountaintop. It's basically a town that was built on the peak of this mountain. And it was very precarious stairs to get there and stuff. And it was just kind of abandoned eventually, but it's a very mysterious but cool site. It's very amazing. The data they collected indicated the presence of 12 previously unknown structures that have been erected in a circular and rectangular pattern around the outskirts of the complex. It is now believed that these were once the dwellings of those who operated the site. There are indications that it was mainly women who looked after the complex, said Dominika, anyway. I can't read that name. Siskowska, and the Andean Research Center of the University of Warsaw. As suggested by objects discovered during previous excavations by a Polish Peruvian team, it will be interesting to see what else, if anything, the LiDAR scans reveal about the area. See, that's where technology is cool, because you can peel away, hundreds of years of debris and silt and soil accumulation to see what might be under it. I think that's pretty cool. Very cool. But that's another breakthrough coming up. Maybe we'll learn more about what was going on at Machu Picchu. This one's kind of disgusting, but I figured there might be some of you out there that might be interested in this. If you watch the show Vikings, you might have come across this reference, but here you go. Sorry for those of you that have a weaker constitution. I think I'm understanding this right. I haven't pre-read the article, so we'll see, but it's coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Viking blood eagle ritual was anatomically possible. A new study has suggested that the gruesome ritual could have been done even during the time of the Vikings. This is a long one. I didn't look close enough, but
for those out there who aren't aware, what is the?
That's what I'm not sure. I think it has to do with splitting the rib cage and basically, putting someone on display.
That's I think it is. Yeah, I think that is what it is.
That's what I'm thinking it is. It's a really gruesome way to dispatch somebody and then put them on a horrible display for everyone to see. So
it's really bad.
I don't know if I'm characterizing that correctly or not, but it's way too long to read. My apologies. I shouldn't have pulled that one up. I did scan these, I thought, but I missed this one, I guess, because I was a busy guy. So you get what you get, folks. You get what you get.
Don't throw a fit.
Huh?
And you don't throw a fit.
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit? Oh, that's clever.
Yep.
Never heard that before.
That's the full thing.
I didn't know that. Okay. The last one we're going to go through tonight is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, of course. And this is from Australia. It says, mystery fire in Australia has been burning for over 6,000 years. Beneath Mount Wingan in New South Wales lies a fiery inferno that predates modern civilization. Known as the Burning Mountain, this intriguing natural phenomena has been smoldering beneath Mount Wingan, Wingan meaning fire in the Rua language, for thousands of years. It is what is known as a coal seam fire, which is a type of extremely slow burning fire that smolders underground over a long period of time. There have been many known coal seam fires around the world. This one is believed to predate all of them. Nobody's exactly sure how long it's been burning for. It was first documented by Europeans in the 19th century. However, many scientists believe that it might have been going for at least 6,000 years. The site itself, which is popular with tourists, offers little indication of the inferno beneath it, to save for some plumes of smoke and deposits of ash and discoloration on the surface. No one knows the size of the fire under the burning mountain. You can only infer it. Professor Guillermo Rien from the Imperial College London told Science Alert, it's likely a ball of around 5 to 10 meters in diameter, reaching temperatures of 1,000 degrees Celsius, 1,832 Fahrenheit. As for what started the fire, while most coal seam fires are usually the result of human intervention, this one is most likely to be naturally occurring, possibly started by a lightning strike or surface wildfire. As things stand, it could continue to burn for many thousands of years. There's the bell, and that's the news, folks. We'll be right back. Don't go away. muted myself. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is second half hour is now underway here on the Paranormal Portal. You've heard the news. Now let's hear the woo, as Kev would say. Kev Baker, king of the woo. Welcome back, and by all means, if anyone feels the need to call in and share a paranormal experience of your own, you can do that. You can call into the show by dialing 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. There's your numbers for fun, folks. So by all means, magic numbers. Absolutely. And we'll be happy to answer the calls that come in, or just keep talking if they don't. We're good either way, but I always love hearing from you guys. So welcome back. And for those of you that may not have seen our first show back from 2022, which was on Wednesday, then just know, Happy New Year. We're glad you're here, and we hope you continue to enjoy the Paranormal Portal.
That's right.
So again, I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night we're going to be welcoming Mr. Lon Strickler to the show. Again, Mr. Lon Strickler is the creator of phantomsandmonsters.com and the creator and host of Arcane Radio Podcast, and he's going to be joining us. And the neat thing is Lon appeared on Kev's show many times, so I'm honored to have Lon on this show as well. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll get into the woo as much as we can. So, let's see. We've got to get into the paranormal now. So, take it away, Sheldon. What do you got?
All right. So first on our list is whatever you had prepared.
Oh, okay. Let me get to that. Nice boomerang. Nice boomerang on that. That wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all. That's a chip off the old block for sure. Let's see, where are we? Let's go to this article. This is one that we've been covering for a while. There's a couple that we've been covering for a while, and there's a couple other articles I want to read before the night has yarned. I'm not even sure if that's a proper word at all. I think I might have just made it up, but means ended. So
you said it cool though.
It sounded cool, but
yeah.
I did that on purpose because I was like, what the hell am I saying? We'll just go with it. It happens all the time, folks. I'm always inventing new words. Android says, and the witness of the Sykesville monster. Yeah, Lon. Yeah, absolutely. That's true. So that's another benefit. We can certainly talk to him about that. We can talk to him about whatever we want, but I would like to say, any of you in the chats, if you have any questions for Lon, get them ready. You know, it'll be your opportunity to talk or to call in during the show. Probably the last hour of the show, we'll open it up to call in. So if you have any questions for Mr. Lon Strickler, this will be your opportunity to ask him. So, as long as, again, always be appropriate. We don't ever want our guests to feel they've had a negative experience here on the shows, but I'm looking forward to that. This will be Lon's first appearance on the YouTube show. He did a podcast with me before. It was a great discussion and a lot of fun. He's just one of those guys that, whatever paranormal topic you throw at him, he's got just tons of information on it. He's just been at this for so long. So it'll be a blast. So let's get to the article in question. Is from moneymade.com. And this is real life supernatural horrors. And nobody likes those, as far as I know. No. So not horrors. Horrors. Anyway, let me just really enunciate the hell out of that so I don't screw that up.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We're on number 46 of our article here. So let me get to that. Number 46. Let's lock the door and throw away the key. It says, about a year ago, I was at my dad's house taking care of a dog for the week because he had gone camping with some friends and my sister. Meanwhile, my wife was also away. She had gone to Colombia to visit her family for a month. My in-laws asked me to take care of their dog while they were gone, and I, of course, said yeah. So here I am, the first night alone at my dad's house with two dogs who had been playing together all day. I decided to go to bed around 10 in the evening, so I go to lock the front door and back door and make sure that every door in the house except for the bedroom door is closed. And I go to sleep. At about midnight, I suddenly hear the dogs freaking out. They're barking and whining like mad, so I jump out of bed and go check on them. On my way downstairs, I make a seriously terrifying discovery. The back door is unlocked and open. I look down at the dogs, and they're both staring at the basement door, whining and growling while laying in a puddle of their own pee. I see the basement door is open. So I get the emergency number ready to be called on my phone, and I go downstairs. I search around for a while, not even sure what I'm looking for, until I go back upstairs and clean off the dogs. And at maybe 1 a.m, the dogs are finally clean and no longer focused on the basement, so I make sure the basement door is latched, and I go back upstairs after double checking that the back door is locked as well. I thought it was over, but it was just the start of my ordeal. At about 2, I once again hear the dogs barking and freaking out, so I run downstairs, and once again I see the back door wide open. The basement door is wide open too, but this time both dogs are staring out the window and looking into the backyard. So this time, I don't bother to go downstairs. I just close the door, and then I run to the back door and I close it and lock it as hard and as fast as I can. I then went back upstairs and did not sleep for the rest of the night, but both dogs slept on the bed with me. After about a week, my dad gets home, and I ask him if we can watch his home security cameras for that night that I was there. And I had to wait for him to get home because I had no clue how to work it, but he had no objections. So as we're watching the footage, I'm looking to see if anything or anyone even went near the house during the night. And oddly enough, there was nothing. The only weird thing is that around 12 and 2, the back door randomly flings open with nothing going in or out. But the scary part is that from a different camera in the house, we can clearly see me lock the back doors every single time. We had no issues with the lock or any other day before or since then. No idea what happened there. Yeah, that's pretty weird. That, you got to wonder, what do you do in a situation like that? Well, maybe you have to put a seal on the door, like some religious seal or spiritual seal of some kind,
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is this event just happens, and then, well, apparently that's it.
Yeah, it's a one-off. Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the weird ones. Well, those are the weird ones. It's like, what's going on exactly? Was there something waiting for the dad to be gone so he could go and do something in the house that I wanted to do? I don't know. And what was that thing? And what could it have wanted to do? It's hard to know. Again.
Yeah, I was thinking that the black-eyed children at first, they got in, but then nothing happens. It's like, what? Okay.
Well, they don't, according to the legend of the black-eyed kids, at least, they can't let themselves in. They got to be invited in or allowed to come in. So,
right.
Yeah,
right.
So it's kind of like the vampire thing, but I don't know. That was by Exotic Nerfs. And we're going to go to the next one. Number 47, The Man in the Mirror. When I was younger, I lived with my grandma, and her house was, to say the least, freaking spooky. We would hear noises at all hours of the night and not just the house creaking kind of noises. What we heard were much more terrifying. It was more like people were talking in hushed voices in odd rooms around the house. We heard dogs barking in our basement, even though we didn't have any dogs at the time. But one of the most memorable story about this is that I went to the bathroom late at night, and the bathroom mirror faced our dining area. So I walked into the bathroom. Of course, I look into the mirror, and looking into it, I saw something that made my jaw drop. There was someone standing at our dining room table, old clothes, long white hair, and a very dressy type suit. Well, I turned around to look, and I didn't see anything. Needless to say, I slept in the bathroom that night because screw that thing. And we don't know who wrote it, but made him sleep in a tub. My God, that's getting worked up.
Wow.
Yeah. He didn't want to leave.
Seemed peaceful. It was just kind of like, hey.
Yeah, hey, I'm here. And you got to think that those kind of things are very intentional, like that. It wanted the person to see it. I really think that it wasn't like, oh, you can see me in that mirror. Shoot. I didn't think of that. I think that they're very well aware of what they're doing, and they do that intentionally. Why? Yeah. Anybody's guess, but they do.
Unless it was apparition, is that what they call it? When it's kind of like an energy memory from a different time.
Oh,
not really
residual. Residual apparition, sure. Could be.
Yeah.
It could be. And really, even that locked door story could be something residual if the door was the same and, is the same location. The last one could have been just
that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Because it was never really interacting with the people or the dogs. The dogs didn't like it, but it didn't attack them. It didn't try to harass them in any way. It's just, well, there you go. So I don't know. It's kind of curious. It's possible. I'm just going to say it's possible. We just don't know. And again, any of these stories, it's hard to really know what's going on. We just get this little glimpse into their world, into their experience. And you try to make some sense out of it, but quite honestly, there's no way to really know anything. Quite honestly, we don't even know that the story is even true, but it's represented as true. So that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
Because I can't know. Sorry, I gotta get a headache.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. I get them. It's what happens. All right, so we don't know who wrote that one. There's just a permalink, but number 48 is Sister Act. It says, I've been waiting for some time to tell my story. Let me tell you, keeping this to myself has been a special kind of torment. If I ever tell this to an actual person, they would probably call me crazy or schizophrenic or something. Maybe writing it down somewhere, anywhere, will help set it straight in my head. Perhaps someone out there reading this can help me out with a reasonable explanation that I'm just not seeing. A little background context. When my sister was in utero, there was originally part of a set of twins, but swallowed up her twin as the pregnancy went on. It's called the Vanishing Twin. This will later become relevant to the story, so bear with me. My sister, let's call her M for the purpose of simplifying the story, has always had trouble with sleepwalking. My mom has had her examined by several specialists. It's that bad. They've only ever eased the problem temporarily, however. She sleepwalks on average about 10 times a month. And at the time this story took place, about a month ago or so, I was home from college for the weekend. I often stay up late at night and decided to relax a little and just watch some TV before going to bed. It was about 1 a.m, I'd say, and I was lying on my side watching my show with my headphones on. I could see the hallway in my peripheral vision. When I looked up, I suddenly noticed my sister standing in the doorway. Her eyes were half closed. She looked like she was sleepwalking. Well, I took my headphones off and saw her slowly walking towards me. When she got close, I felt my stomach clench, and I got the most intense feeling of dread I've ever experienced. She didn't look like my sister. Every facial feature was slightly off, the way an identical twin doesn't completely resemble the other twin. Well, not necessarily. I mean, they can be absolutely identical. Whatever gave it away, there weren't her physical features, though. It was her facial expressions. She had this smile on her face, is what I guess you'd call it, since the corners of her mouth were turned upward, and it didn't look like any smile I'd ever seen, though. It somehow encompassed every awful, evil feeling I've ever experienced, read about, and imagined feeling, and it made me think she was going to start screaming at any moment and never stop. Every single hair on my body was raised. She was just staring at me. I noticed dimly that her eyes were wide open now. She didn't look like she was sleepwalking anymore, and eventually I managed to say her name in an attempt to get a response out of her. What she did next still haunts me. She then stopped smiling and said, "No, I don't think we've been introduced. I'm Annie." I think I was actually paralyzed with fear when I heard that. Somehow, eventually, I managed to scream and shove her away. My parents came crashing into my room. They thought someone had broken into the house, and when they turned on the light, I knew it was Em standing next to me. Her face looked completely normal again. She was awake at this point. She blinked a bit and said she couldn't remember coming into my room. The reason I was so freaked out was that just a few years ago, my mom had told me about the fact that Em had absorbed her twin in utero, but also she told me that she had kind of morbidly considered what she would have liked to call her second daughter, and she told me she would have called her Annie.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Wow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That was by sis_Annie. Yeah, that is a creepy one. And you got to wonder about that. So if it is a case of absorbing twin, is there a consciousness attached to that other twin that would then become somewhat absorbed into the person as well? I don't know,
Maybe like two spirits in one body type of thing.
Yeah, and like at night sometimes the twin drives, It's like, there's a steering wheel inside.
It's my turn now.
Yeah. There's the steering wheel inside the head there that they just take turns on. And it's an odd kind of thing, right? Very strange.
Yeah. I mean, it's not beyond the realm of belief for me. I mean,
right. You kind of think that, those kind of, it does in a weird way make some kind of weird sense, but
yeah,
I've certainly got to admit that I think I've heard stranger things. So that certainly doesn't seem impossible or implausible. It's just hard to wrap your head around though. It's like, wow.
Do you ever, one thing that I love these stories that are pulled from all these different places in Reddit and whatnot. Uh-huh. But the one thing that I slightly hate about it, and I say that very lightly, but I slightly hate the fact that you can't get updates on these. Oh, you can, but like it's you have to reach out, you have to explain why, you have to, because sometimes like, oh, what happened next though? What happened later?
It's kind of the same thing for, even people that have reached out to be on the show in some form or another, whether it's just on the podcast or here on the YouTube show, but they come on and if I don't ask, I don't often, I don't many times get updates, but it's like these people have experienced such amazing things. And then it's just kind of like the end, it's like, is it really the end? Is there anything more going on? I'm always wondering that. So if you're one of those
cliffhanger.
If you're one of those people that's been on the show and you've told me your stories and you have any updates, I'd love to hear from you because I think that would be fascinating to go back and do a compilation of former guests and what's going on now, revisiting those, because I think that would be a lot of fun and be cool for the rest of our listeners that have listened to your stories and maybe wondering the same thing. So,
I would love updates.
Yeah, reach out to me. Let me know. So we got about 8 minutes. We're doing good. Oh, brother, where art thou? I am a man of constant sorrow. Anyway, Oh, brother, where art thou? That was a good movie.
That was a great movie. Yeah.
My story may not be scary, but it's definitely freaky and unforgettable. It was to do with my identical twin brother. Another one.
Oh, no.
He was living with my dad in the D.C. area, and I was living on the other side of the country. At about 1 a.m, I had the most vivid dream where I was freezing cold and looking up at the stars, and something was very wrong. I somehow knew it was my brother, and the dream shook me so much that I felt I was awake and scared. Oh, well, just a dream. I'll watch some TV to calm down and go back to sleep. The next morning, I see that my dad is calling me, so when I answer, I have no idea what possessed me to say, but I say, Dad, before you say anything, I know something happened to my brother. He told me that my brother ate a bottle of Ativan and washed it down with a lot of hard drinks, but they found him in his underwear on the hood of his car looking upwards. Remember, in my dream, I was freezing and looking up at the stars, and luckily, they found him in time to save his life, which he eventually took years later, tragically. But there's no way to explain the dream and the connection I felt with him that night. Wow, that's that twin link. I think there is at least, the possibility for that link to exist. And I'm not saying it happens in all twins or all, even if it's fraternal twins or identical, but there are many, many stories where one twin will know exactly what's going on with the other one, and they have no way to know. So I believe in those connections, but I believe that runs in families too. Like my mom saved me when I was in a playpen choking on a car because she was sewing and knew something was wrong. And she flew out there to where my playpen was and ended up dislodging a piece of a car that I had stuck in my throat and couldn't breathe. I was all blue. I had blue lips and blue face, and I was all smurfed out, but Portal Mom saved me. So if you enjoy the show,
close then.
If you enjoy the show, thank Portal Mom. She saved me a couple times. I almost drowned once too, and she saved me from that. So Portal Mom's kind of my hero. So let's go to the next one. There's no place like home. growing up, I lived in a haunted house that my dad recently finally admitted was messed up. I've read these posts before, and I've always wanted to post this story, but I never had. And now I think it's finally time to share my experiences. When I was little, my parents divorced, and I went to live with my dad as he was moving to a new town. We ended up buying this big house out in the country outside of a little podunk town. The house was huge for just the two of us, but it was right on the little pond with an island, so it was cool. There were other houses around, but it was basically surrounded by cornfields. This fact scared the heck out of me because the movie The Children of the Corn had just come out. Malachi, he wants you too. That movie still terrifies me to this day, and I'm as old and I am as old as can be. Anyway, bizarre stuff started happening almost immediately after we moved in. On Halloween, my dad and I bought this huge pumpkin, carved it, put it in the front window, and we went out of town one night. And when we came back, that thing was smashed to pieces in the middle of the living room floor. It was at least 10 feet from where it had been sitting earlier. I didn't think much of it because my dad played it off, but I heard him on the phone with his new girlfriend later that night saying how freaky it was. Yeah, he moved on pretty quick after my mom, but he's a straight player. Anyway, weird and random noises happen pretty much every night, and we just grew used to it over time. Even voices started to appear, but my dad always told me it was just the house settling. I've never heard any other house say the name Jeffrey. When it settles.
What a great joke out of nowhere.
Burning hell. Oh, don't worry about that. This is a house settling. Never heard a house say Jeffrey when it settles. yeah, that was what I would always hear someone calling out. But there are two particularly messed up incidences that happened to us there. They were so bad that they scared us into selling the place. That said Jeffrey. God, that's hilarious. Even years later, my dad still talks about how it freaked him out. First, there was one night where we had a really bad storm, and I was like 10 years old, so my dad was done letting me crawl into bed with him anymore, and I had to brave that out on my own. Anyway, at about 3 a.m, as the storm had been raging for a couple of hours, we suddenly hear this loud boom from the first floor. Both our rooms are on the second floor, and we heard glass shattering. My dad yells at me to stay upstairs, and he goes down to investigate, and he came back up 20 minutes later and tells me to go back to sleep. Turns out our basement window had been blown out by the wind during the storm. The freaky thing was that the glass, all of the glass had landed outside the house. Not one shard inside the room. We got it fixed the next day and never mentioned it again, but then there was the second big incident. We had a pull-down attic that was in the hallway between my bedroom and the bathroom. One night I woke up to go to the bathroom, and as I was walking down the hall, I ran into that freaking hanging attic door. My dad was sound asleep in his room, so it freaked me out. However, as I was walking back to my room after the bathroom break, I ran into that freaking attic door again. I heard some rustling going on up there and figured my dad was up there, so I walked past the attic towards his room, but there he was in there, snoring. I freaked out and told my dad. We got up and turned on his bedroom light, all angry at me, and we both looked into the hall, and even though the hallway light was off, we could tell the attic was now closed. My dad was angry. He told me to go to bed and turn off the light. To this day, I still turn on every last damn light. Upstairs in my current house, whenever I have to pee, much to the dismay of my wife. We moved soon after, and I never have gone back to that place, and I probably never will. That was by Sand Chisel. Or Shizzle.
Wow. Very active. Yeah. Very active one.
That's pretty bizarre. Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, it's not necessarily an evil. It's not a dark, horrible thing. It's just a nuisance thing. I guess, they don't acknowledge it, and it wants acknowledging, then there's going to be problems. But
almost mischievous,
Yeah, it's just, it's mischievous. You're right. But we're about a minute away from the hour break already, folks. The night is just flying by. Just flying by. So we'll be right back after that. Also a secondary note. Paisley wasn't sure if she was going to be doing a live show. I don't know if that's been updated or not, but as I heard it, I don't think she was planning to because they got snowed in, and their electricity was having issues as well. So I don't know that you should expect a live show from Paisley after this, but check into it. Maybe there's an update. Maybe she's out there listening, or somebody knows more than me can post in the chat if that's the case. But just to let you know, just to pass it on. But we're going to go to the break, folks. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these couple minutes.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
From which they cannot wake. I can't see you, Honey. Where are you? I've never sensed anything like it. Caroline is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Paranormal Portal. We're in hour number 2 now. Woo!
Can't believe it.
I just unbelievable, right?
Always is.
Yes, it is. All right, let's continue our journey into the Paranormal Portal. And hello to those of you on TFR, which is Bam and Gemini are over there. Good to see you guys. Let's see who's in the YouTubes. Who's in the YouTubes? If you want a shout out on the YouTubes, then you got to type something because that's the only way I know you're there. Excuse me. Sorry, a little bubble.
Yeah, true.
A little burp bubble. Sorry about that.
Let's get chatting.
All right, so there's only a handful of people chatting, though. According to this, one just dropped off, actually. So far, the participants in the
Get
chat
back
room
here.
Are DDH. There's a capital D and a small d and then an H. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. Maggie is here. I'm here. Rachel is here. Lawson Roberts just came in. Good to see you. Sheldon, you just popped in. Rachel's here. Tracy Gale's here. Maggie, Lucifer, good to see you. Never thought I'd be saying that in my life. Hey, Lucifer, good to see you.
True.
That's awesome. Yeah, Lucifer Morningstar. He's been a long time follower of the show. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping in tonight. Tracy Gale, Wonder Woman, Ruthie's in there. Sandra Piper, good to see you all. And more are coming. More are popping in all over the place. Jeez, where did it come? Cosmic Fluor, Brooks, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. And the Unknown is in here. The Unknown, of course. The Unknown. Who is he? He's unknown. And so that looks like those are the active chatter participants. I know Portal Mom's in there, out there listening. Someone else just popped in too. R. Stahlbaum, good to see you. R. Stahlbaum, good to see you.
A new name.
No, it's been around a while. Long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. It's just great to see these names pop up because I just love it when you guys are still here in the shadows. And of course, there's many of you that aren't chatting, and that's cool too. Nathan Nate popped up as well. Good to see you, Nathan Nate. And welcome all of you guys to the show. It's great to see you guys. Thank you so much for supporting what you're seeing here on the portal. And we'd love a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. That would go a long way to placate the gods of tubes. YouTube gods will recommend the show if you hit the thumbs up and say nice things in the comments. So thumbs up and comments are really important. If you want to help out the show, that's certainly one way to do it, is just keep thumbing up and leaving comments on every show, because that is called interaction, and that's good for the algorithm. So to get more people to see the portal, we got to get as much algorithm as we can get. That was actually the end of that article. So that's that worked out actually perfectly. So let me close that one as we go to the next one. And this is one we've been working through as well. And this is one from Factinate.com. Factinate. I've actually enjoyed Factinate's articles, and they have several different topic areas where they have these articles and stuff of different topics, but they do a hell of a job on their paranormal ones. So did the Money Made. Oddly enough, you wouldn't expect it from a site that's called Money Made, but they did a great job aggregating those. So Whoever's doing it for them, well done. You're doing it right. Let's see. This one is terrified people, creepiest experiences. So it's a very similar list to the one we just went over, but let's get to it now. Are you ready, Sheldon?
Absolutely.
And once again, folks, if you want to call in, 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Okay.
Oh, Rachel.
Have they changed?
She says, have they changed the formula for Play-Doh? Because this tastes different.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Probably a different flour. All right, let's get to this other article. This is one from Factinate.com. Again, terrified people, creepiest experiences. We're on number 20 of this article, and it says, I've heard it all before. I used to get deja vu a lot as a child. Most times it was just a weird feeling of living in a memory, but there was this one time where I actually felt like I could predict the future. I was having a conversation with my brother, and I felt like I had had that exact conversation before. I could also remember 5 or 10 seconds ahead of time, so I was completing his sentences. He was freaking out. Kim Jong-du, D-E-U-X. That is weird. I think we've seen at least, many stories through the years on the show of people experiencing that. And I think deja vu in some ways could be a time anomaly as well. Like it's not just a psychic imprint. Maybe it's a hiccup or an echo. Maybe it's an echo from the multiverse, another version of you, or something. It's hard to know, but there's other situations where people find themselves in a different time. But this person remembers having the exact same conversation with their brother that they were having and was able to tell the brother what they were going to say. Very weird.
There's a theory I read on deja vu that's stated something around the lines of that if you feel you have deja vu in that moment, like you've experienced that before, it's because a multiverse version of you is experiencing the same thing that you are at the exact same time. That's what I read. It was interesting, at least.
And that's kind of cool because when you think about it, so oftentimes we think of these multiverse versions of us as being like they're the same as us, but they're not the same. Like they're just someone else that looks and is having very similar experiences to what we're having. But those kind of incidences prove, or would seem to suggest, I can't say prove, they would seem to suggest that whoever these parts of life that are experiencing these things are actually very much connected to us. And so I think it's possibly illustrates the vastness of our souls, of how big we actually are. We think we're these little isolated lights in a universe of darkness, that are just floating around. But I think those kind of experiences are really incredibly empowering because it would demonstrate that the universe, the multiverse is a reality, but we are a part of those multiverse as well. And so that to me really illustrates that we are not these little isolated points of light, that we are absolutely interconnected into the universe in all of its manifestations. And I think it kind of brings to light that, hey, we're not these little small insignificant things. We are huge. And maybe that's a great thing.
I believe every single one of us is a puzzle piece in the grand picture of life.
Yeah, I think that too as well. I mean, I think that that's a great way of putting it. That we are a part or a segment of the whole thing, and I think that's a great way to state that. But it's not like we need to be put in a place in order to have that order. It's like we're already a part of the puzzle. We're already intertwined in that. We're not just this piece that's laying out on a board somewhere waiting to be put in our place,
Right.
So
right.
I think that's the illusion. That's the illusion of whatever this experience is that we think we're alone. We think we're isolated. We think that we're in this microcosm, but we're not. We're in this macrocosm, absolutely interconnected with all of it. And I think that that's empowering. But anyway, it is whatever you believe it is, and that couldn't be truer. I mean, it's if you believe you are connected to this, divine light and in all of its divine manifestations, then that's empowering. But if you believe that you're not, then you're not going to be aware of it anyway, so you may as well not be. So I think it speaks to that we are able to empower ourselves, and I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I had this very lucid dream once. In the dream, I got up to use the bathroom, and when I got out of bed, however, there was a demon standing in my doorway. It had bright golden eyes. It was such a lucid dream that it freaked me out so bad I told my brother about it. But when I got to the part about what the demon looked like, my brother freaked me out even more. He finished my thought for me and said with the golden eyes. Turns out he had the exact same dream as me. Yeah. That was by Kim Jong-do as well. That's the same author on both of those. Wow.
Oh.
That person's had some experiences.
He's a magnet.
Yeah, apparently. He or she. Yeah, I guess it's probably he. That's crazy. So the hard part about that though is that that's not without precedence, the yellow eyes, but it also is a prominent part of the storyline in Supernatural, so it makes you wonder, like, is this the yellow-eyed demon, the one that killed?
And he has a brother.
Yeah.
And yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of makes you wonder, and those are the kind of things that kind of wave red flags for me personally. It's like, wait,
slightly suspect.
Yeah, at least it's cautionary. It's a cautionary thing for me, at least. But I'm not saying it's not a true story. It could very well be, and there probably is golden-eyed demons as well, and perhaps there's mention of that in some biblical reference or something. I don't know, but at any rate, it is also the storyline of Supernatural. So take that into consideration as you're considering that story. Number 22, You'll Never Leave This Town. This happened to a friend of mine and their sister a few years ago. They were driving from one town to another, and the ride out of town went fine, but on the way back, about 15 minutes into their 30-minute drive, things got weird. They drove past an abandoned and creepy-looking house out in the middle of a field, and then drove past a forested area. A little while later, they passed the same house again, and then more trees, and then the house again, then trees, and it went on about a half a dozen times, and they were both freaking out. It seemed like they were stuck in an endless loop. Finally, they drove past the same trees again and were right outside the other town. They had skipped the last half of the physical distance of their journey, but they traveled it by repeating the first part of the journey. That's weird. Huh. They were in like this loop of doing this small part of the drive over and over and over and over. And then when they did snap out of it, they were way further along as if they had been making the drive. So that's really curious.
It's bizarre.
Right? Yeah, I think so
too. It's a glitch in the Matrix right there.
Oof. Yeah, it sure seems like it. That was by Jukesy85. Jukesy. All right, number 23, Attack on the Track. Sorry, it just sounded like a joke. I used to train a lot in high school, and that meant a lot of late night runs at the middle school track. It was an old gravel one close to the woods with no lights, and I'd hold my phone up to time my laps. And one night, while I was looking down at my phone for my lap time, someone tackled me out of nowhere. It was all just a blur to me. We rolled around on the ground, and he never said a word, just grunted. Luckily, I got up and ran towards the middle school, and I left all my stuff behind there. And I went back with the officers and was all still there. He hadn't taken any of it. It was pretty strange. Well, I don't know.
I mean, that doesn't have to necessarily be supernatural.
Right. It could just be some flaky person just wanted to razz him or what. Yeah.
Some guy on drugs, confused, running around.
It could be a friend pranking him, any number of things. So it may be, but it may just be absolutely very mundane and normal that somebody's just being an idiot. There's plenty of those. I mean, there's no shortage of idiots in the world. All right, number 24, iPods save lives. I did not know that. That's Steve Jobs will be happy as he's hearing that in the great beyond. My oldest friend and I went to different high schools, but we kept up with holiday messages just to keep the friendship going. The only way I could text her was through my Facebook account, but since I only had the account on my old iPod, I only checked it every couple of weeks. So anyway, one day I just got this sudden urge to charge up my iPod and see if she sent me anything. I hadn't checked it for around a month or so. Once I charged my iPod, I saw that she had recently sent a message, literally 30 minutes earlier. It turns out that she was in a mental health institute for youth after attempting to take her own life, and she wanted to call and talk about it. I went through an incredibly similar situation a year or so previously, so we talked for hours about what she was going through. She's in a much better place now, and I wonder if it was all just a coincidence or if some greater power had tapped on my shoulder. That was by Finkelwhip 24/7. Well, that's cool.
Sounds like a tap to me.
Yeah, it does. It's one of those interventions, maybe, yeah, of the divine sort. Divine intervention. Number 25. What is that from Finding Nemo? Intervention. Because Bruce is going crazy. Yep. Number 25, flash of horror. When I was 16 or 17, I was taking a warm bath. It was a stormy night with lots of thunder and lightning. I was enjoying looking out the windows at the storm when suddenly a flash of lightning exposed a silhouette in the darkness. Ooh. It was tall and very skinny creature with long arms and a head that made me think of Martians or space aliens or something. I think about this moment every now and then, and it gives me the creeps. That was by Gaba Gadiovaki. Gaba Gadiovaki. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe you were being...
It's too short to know.
Yeah,
not enough information.
It's just a one-off again. So is that a tulpa? Is that a manifestation? Just they were feeling freaked out from the storm, and they created this quick glimpse of something. Maybe. Number 26, just gone for a dip. I was exploring an area behind my house shortly after we moved in. The area back there had once been a small quarry and had since filled with water. It was a real pit that supposedly went straight down 60 feet if you stepped in it. I was walking along the edge when I came across something really weird and kind of creepy. There was a backpack filled with old video game cartridges and a set of clothing just lying on the ground. They were for the Nintendo 64, and we found this around 2004, so they were obviously outdated, and next to it was a set of clothing. The clothes were on the ground, spread out, pants and shirts, so it looked like someone laying down. They looked like they'd been there for a long time, same with the backpack, and I told my parents, and they called the authorities, and there had been no reports of missing children or anything in the area, and we never got an explanation, but it was weird. Huh.
That's creepy.
That is pretty weird. That was by Fabulous Ferrochemist. Okay. I don't know what the Fabulous Ferrochemist is up to, but I guess there was no body to be found, so that's good. Number 27, Boo, good morning. I fell asleep on the couch of my apartment in Detroit, and I lived on the 16th floor of a high-rise. It wasn't a shady building, but it was right on the water/international border, so there was a bit of an issue with trafficking and the like. Sometime after midnight, I had a feeling that something wasn't right, and it woke me up. I couldn't believe what I saw when I opened my eyes. There was a strange man standing on my entry hallway, backlit by the hallway lights. He slowly backed up upon seeing that I was awake and closed the door. I ran to wake up my then boyfriend in the bedroom, and he went out to the hall to see who it could have been, but there was no sign of him. He just disappeared into the hallway. It was probably a neighbor who had got the wrong door, but it's still the creepiest thing I've ever woke up to, and it was the only night that we hadn't locked our front door. The odds just seemed small. That was by Stardinia. Well, that is creepy. I don't know what that would be like to be waking up and seeing someone there. I just can't imagine. That's one of those. That's one of those. Oh hell no moments. You know, like you've got to come to a point where it's like you just grab things and start throwing. That's just what you do. I think that's what I would do. It's just like, oh hell no, this isn't happening. You're gonna, you're gonna have to, I don't know, just beat the hell
It's
out
not
of
the
them.
right way to wake you up.
No, it's
It's just
well, it's quicker than coffee, I guess, but not a good thing. Not a good thing. We got a time for a couple more before the break. Again, it's 28 mixed berries. As a kid, I went to a friend's house after school. It was a sunny day, so we went to the park near his house through the woods there. His younger brother was with us as well. In the woods beside the path, there were red berries on the ground. Someone had arranged the berries into 3 stick figures, which was weird, as there was 3 of us. Oh, creepy.
oh no.
We got back to the house, but we're still wondering about the berries, and my friend and I decided to go back and take another look while his brother stayed in the house. And when we got back, there were only 2 stick figures. My friend snapped a photo on his phone and then kicked the berries, and we ran back to the house. I don't know if it was some kind of prank or witchcraft or what. And that was by Hail to the King's Lair. Yikes. That would be creepy. The dreaded berries. Or they portends of the future? Did they?
Schnozberries? What?
No, portends. What? Schnozberries? What are you talking about? Oh.
Gigi.
Oh, schnozberries? I don't know what that means. I don't understand, Gigi. Sorry. Don't know what you mean. Number 29, Taste the Rainbow. Skittles. I received a package in the mail once. Now, that's not creepy in and of itself. I hadn't ordered anything. Whoever sent the package definitely intended to send it to me, as the package had my name and address on it, and it was the strangest thing I've ever gotten in the mail. The package contained 1 pack of Starburst and nothing else. It's not even the right slogan. To this day, I have no idea who sent it or why. The return address was a vacant office space across the country. Jeez, that's creepy.
That's weird.
That was by Reddit account 1_2.
One thing, if there's a different name on it, because obviously they just typed it in wrong or whatever, but
yeah,
if it's your name, your address from a random area, wow.
So that's a pack of Starburst that would go right in my garbage. I'm not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be.
I'm not eating that.
Hey, free. I'm not that cheap. We'll read
Nothing's ever free.
Nothing's ever free. That's a good point. Number 30, A Miraculous Vanishing Act. I was traveling from Texas up to Washington State with my family, and we were almost out of money, almost out of gas, had no food, and we were stuck in California. I sat in the car while my mom took my younger sisters to the restroom at a gas station. I was really anxious about our situation. Suddenly, the car door opened, and I looked up. The lady that I had never seen before sat in the seat and faced me, and she said, "It seems like you're down on your luck. Take this and give it to your mom. Tell her to pay it forward someday to someone who needs it." I looked down into my hand, and there was a $100 bill. I looked up to thank her, but she had already disappeared. She was nowhere in the parking lot, just vanished. When my mom came back, I told her what had happened, and she cried. We got gas, and there was a guy selling oranges on the side of the road, and we bought a bag and went to a local park, and we got back on the road a few hours later. I never saw the lady again. She saved us, and we made it up to Washington to start our new life, thanks to her. That was by Heather Laurie, 76. Wow, that's a very cool story. I love those stories. Those are the great ones, right?
Yeah, that guardian spirit coming by to give you just what you needed right at the right moments.
Exactly. Isn't it an angel, a guardian angel? Is it what is it? But it's just really cool. I think mine should be stopping by anytime.
When I die, that's what I want to be. Guardian angel.
You do? Yeah. That'd be kind of, I think that'd be a pretty rewarding career. If we get to pick such things, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to go around and hand people cash and make them feel happy. That'd
just
be
manifest cash in my hand, be like, hey, here you go.
And go shopping. Because, guardian angel should have a big TV.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying. All right. So, I don't know if there is such a thing where you can just pick your vocation. That'd be a good one. That'd be a lot of fun. And who knows? Who knows? Now, some people would say angels are their own thing. They're not the same thing as us, but there's others that say that we can become angels. So I think that anything can be an angel. A pet.
I'm going to choose to believe in the latter.
Yeah. I mean, a pet can be an angel, right? Like if you're down and feeling down, and that loving animal will come up and just fill your heart with warmth. And then, there's plenty of stories of people just coming up to someone in need and just being there at the right time. Like we can all be utilized as an angelic force, I think. So I think the term angel may also mean a race of supernatural beings, but it could also mean that anybody could be an angel if your heart's in the right place. So we are going to go to the last break of the night, if you can believe it or not.
Whoa. Yeah.
The night is cruising away. And you guys can let me know in the comments or in the chat what you think about the whole angels thing. Are angels something different, or can we be angels? What do you guys think? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, because I think there's no wrong answers. It's like nobody knows. So whatever you say, you could be right. But until a couple minutes, we'll be right back. Don't go away for more of the Paranormal Portal. The last half hour coming up next, folks. last half hour, folks. We are cruising through the night. I haven't heard any more corrections about Paisley's show, so I'm not sure. I guess I'm still uncertain as to whether or not she will actually have one. Sheldon, you realize you have a paint frame around you?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not sure why.
Okay, it's like you're a work in progress.
I guess so. Guess it got demoted.
Guess you got demoted. Okay, let's see if there's any
the secondary laboratory.
I hear you. Okay. All right. Well, very strange. All right, you've got a new frame around you. That's cool. Good to see it.
Yeah, here we are.
Good to see you. All right, we are going through the night. Last segment of our journey. If you want to call in during this segment, 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500 is the numbers for fun here in the portal. I think Rachel had a nice statement about it. I think angels are in upper management, and souls can go and do good work on Earth. Yeah. Brooke says angels are a separate being from us. Yep, very good point. I've heard that reference as well. Gigi thinks they're bears, which doesn't surprise me. The devil is an angel. That's true. She also said angels are separate beings from us. Brooke said again. I'm just scrolling up. Gigi's an angel.
Maggie stated that she said, I sat with a homeless man once. He called me an angel. He gave me a book. He said he was asked to pass it on, and I passed it on too.
Very cool. That is really cool, and I think that's a great example of the fact that I think maybe we're all at some point or another called on to be an angel for somebody, and I think that's maybe the divine intelligence making sure that we are there to help somebody that will need it. And it's hard to know when that's happening. So if you ever get that urge in your heart, like I should help that person, then do it, because it could be that's your moment to shine. That's your moment to follow through on that divine urging to be there for one of the children. So I think that's cool. And again, I don't ever mean to dictate people's, dictate a religion or an observation spiritually. Those are mine, and I just share them. So whatever you believe is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I just hope you believe something, because
but I mean, you're onto something though. Like you're saying, like we can be guardian angels to other people too. It doesn't have to be just a spiritual being, spiritual encounter. Could be us too.
Right. So I mean, they very well may be a different being, the true quote unquote angels, or the seraphim and cherubim and all of the orders. And the archangels and stuff, they may be a different kind of being than we are spiritually. But then again, maybe they're just, maybe they're more utilitarian, and maybe we can still do angelic feats as required, or as possible, I guess. But I wanted to close out the last part of the show. We do have a call, though, so let's get to this call here quick.
Oh,
it looks like it might be Naysay, but let's see who it is for sure. All right, this is area code 701. You're on the air.
Hello, my brother from the same mother.
And
thank you for taking my call.
Oh, sure. My pleasure, brother. What's on your mind tonight, brother?
Thank you so much for being part of the Kev Baker tribute.
Oh, thanks you guys for having me. That was really an honor. It was really great.
And of course, if there's woo to be had in Naysay's world, one of the places that I do share it is with my dear friend Brent. And is that Sheldon I hear?
It is, yep.
That is me, yes. Hello.
Well, hello, younger sir. It's good to hear your voice. But if I could real quickly play something
sure,
that happened right after the show.
Did you say
so
play?
Here we go. You're going to hear my...
You said play?
I'm sorry.
If it's an audio
I'm
file,
going to play it.
Okay. Well, we may be able to hear it, but we may not. We can try.
Oh, you will.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm getting. All right. Well, maybe. If not, just tell me right away. But here we go. You're going to hear my computer talk.
Okay.
And
we love you, man. And rest in peace, Kev. We love you, man. And rest in peace, Kev. We love you, man.
So I just wanted to keep this can make a recording
Rest in
of
peace,
this that
Kev.
you're
We
hearing
love
right
you,
now.
man.
This is the end of the tribute
Rest in
show
peace, Kev.
that we did on
love you,
Freaky
man.
Friday with the Woo Crew, January 7th.
Rest in peace, Kev. We
It's
love you, man.
9:27. The show
It's hard to hear
ended
you.
roughly about 5 minutes after. Okay, so
There you go.
to give a premise, we did the tribute show. The tribute show we ended at about 9:05. After the show, me, Popeye, and Scotty were talking. As we're talking, I have the YouTube stream in my left ear, but it was done. It was done and over with. All of a sudden, as we're talking, in my ear, I hear this loop start over and over again.
Wow.
And I'm like, you guys, you won't believe this. And then I'm afraid to like unplug my headset, because I'm like, if I unplug my headset, it's probably going to stop. I unplugged my headset. It continued on for 38 minutes.
Wow.
That same loop.
Very
over
cool.
and over again. And I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know.
You know, Kev was there. You know, he was a part of that whole thing. You know, that has to be him making himself known. It's just got to be, because if it was at all possible, you know, he would do it. And it was, you know, I mean, because he loved this.
Yeah, absolutely. In the speculation of it, my heart, my instincts, my feelings, my beliefs, I do believe it is one of those coincidences or synchronicities of when we are reminded about the miraculousness of existence.
Right. Yeah.
And I knew you guys would appreciate the woo. And it was, you know, all day today I was having, all week actually, I've been having like some strange things occurring and stuff. But it's, you know, that's what my ancestors teach, that until the physical form is put into the ground or the cremation, whatever people choose to do, that essence, that spirit will travel around and visit those that it has met.
Yeah.
And so I just feel humbled, you know, with the opportunity I have with Kev Baker, and thank you so much for joining us. But I thought I'd quickly share the woo with you, but I got to get some sleep because I'm wiped.
All right, brother.
I love you, my brother.
Love you
and
too,
good
man.
to hear you, Sheldon.
It was good talking to you.
All right, Nate, say good night, sir. And
all right, toodles.
Talk to you soon. See ya. Very cool. Wow.
See, another story that's, you know, that has that symbolism and meaning to it of, you know, that they're always around, they're always watching, they're always there.
And you know he would be there. Kev was just, he loved the woo. And he loved a good laugh, too. I mean, he would love to make himself known. I mean, that is totally him. That he would go out of his way to do that, just to be like, now I can be the woo, you know. It's just, you know that's him. You know that's exactly him. And you can know that without even knowing the guy, because he devoted so much of his shows to the woo. He loved the woo. He loved talking about this stuff. He loved investigating and thinking. Just, he was very much like me in that regard, that I love to talk about it. I love to think about it and see, you know, what we can uncover, and just perfect. That is so cool. I'm glad.
I'm sure he's having a blast right now experimenting.
Yeah. He's testing out the new wheels. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to close the show with an article from our very good friend, Mr. Brent Swanser, who writes for mysteriousuniverse.org. He's an excellent writer. If you've not heard his work before, you haven't been paying attention, because we always cover it here on the show. But he's also just a brilliant writer, one of my favorite paranormal journalists out there. But he wrote an article called The Bizarre Tale of the Astronaut Who Vanished in Space and Reappeared Decades Later. And
I saw that article. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes from mysteriousuniverse.org is where that's published. And you can definitely check it out there, and check out thousands and thousands of other articles about paranormal and Fortean topics. And you can catch Brent Swanser in his Facebook group at Dark League Paranormal. It's a great group. Lots of great discussions happening all the time. So let's check this out. It's from January 6, 2022. It's a brand new article. There are countless tales of the strange lurking all about the internet, many of them in the dark corners where many do not think to even look for them. Occasionally, one will come across an incredible story that is at once completely outlandish and eyebrow-raising, seeming to be surely the stuff of tall tales, and this is certainly one of those. The somewhat dubious tale that we are looking at here begins with a man named John Smith, who was supposedly born in 1941 into a military family, going on his young adult years to enroll in the military college for the U.S. Air Force in 1960. And from where he allegedly graduated with flying colors, he would go on to fight as a pilot in the Vietnam War, earning a Medal for Service in Vietnam, and quite the reputation as a respected ace pilot. After which he set his sights on becoming an astronaut. In this endeavor, he apparently succeeded, as he was assigned to what is referred to as the cleaner part of the space mission to clear Earth's orbit of various space junk, including pieces of rockets, out-of-service satellites, and other random detritus and trash, I'm not sure how to say that word, to make the void safe for space travel. And this is where life would apparently get weird and become a very strange tale of a man lost in space, only to reappear alive decades later under some very mysterious circumstances. In the 1970s, the U.S. government was fully engaged in an anti-satellite program in order to monitor and possibly engage enemy spy satellites, and this had been going on since the early 1960s with the creation of a program 505 in 1962, based at the Kwajalein missile range about halfway between Hawaii and the Philippine Islands, and using the Nike Zeus anti-ballistic missiles to intercept satellites. This went on to form the foundation of Program 437, which is the second anti-satellite weapons program for the U.S. military, this time using PGM-17 Thor ballistic missiles to intercept low Earth-orbiting satellites, and which had its facilities on Johnston Island, an isolated island in the north-central Pacific Ocean. Both programs carried out a series of tests at high altitude, nuclear explosions, and both were very real, but the program that Smith would have supposedly become involved in was a bit different. Even when official anti-satellite programs in development were ended in 1975, anti-satellite technology continued, and Smith would become involved in one such plan, using astronauts to supposedly act as a security patrol in space against enemy satellites. In this case, the idea was apparently to use top-secret network of manned space vehicles designed to detect, hunt down, and destroy enemy ballistic missiles, as well as satellites. That story goes that in October of 1973, Smith was launched up into space on a mission aboard a vessel disguised as a satellite in order to remain undetected as he went about his mysterious top-secret work. 3 days apparently went by without incidents, but then his ship entered an area of anomalous heightened radiation, and his maneuvering and orientation systems inexplicably went haywire. At the time, there were also purportedly several unexplained bursts of unexplained radio noise that could not be tracked. NASA apparently tried to save the stricken astronaut, but were unable to do so, and his communications equipment then shut down entirely to leave him lost in space. Soon after the strange incident, NASA purportedly went about covering it all up, noting the failed mission as simply the result of an accident during a training flight, making no mention of the radiation or the radio interference, and the highly classifying the whole thing. There it would remain in the files of the tragedies in space. Smith relegated to the files of lost astronauts and space mysteries, but then in 2000, the lost spaceship that had been carrying Smith was allegedly discovered quite by accident when an amateur astronomer in the Fiji Islands observed an anomalous orbiting object at an altitude of 470 kilometers and reported it to the proper authorities, who became convinced that it was Smith's spacecraft based on its trajectory and appearance. They then went about trying to retrieve the craft as it had fallen into a stable and low orbit. It was able to be collected during the next flight of the shuttle Endeavour in 2001, and this is where things get really weird. When the spacecraft was brought to Earth, it was apparently opened, and much to the utter shock of all present, Smith was not only found inside, but he was still alive even after decades of being lost in space. He was unconscious and seemed to be in some sort of suspended animation, but no one could figure out how this could be. Efforts were made to revive him, And a medical examination would soon turn up some strange anomalies. For one, although Smith's heart was in the right location, the thing was that before the flight, he had been one of those rare people whose heart lies to the right rather than the more common left. Yet now, it was where it should be. There was also the fact that there were no signs of the fracture of the ribs that he had sustained as a young boy, and several large moles that he had were gone, as well as some scars that he was known to have had. It was as if his body had been somehow fixed, and would only be the beginning of the strangeness, as his personal notebook was found with him in the compartment, which happened to be missing 50 pages and supposedly had 24 pages full of cryptic symbols that resembled hieroglyphics and which no one could decipher.
What?
When Smith was lucid enough to talk, he would turn out to have no memory of what had happened to him and no awareness that he had been lost in space for nearly 3 decades, no sense that any time had passed at all, and he was quite the conundrum. As authorities tried to figure out what was going on, Smith would allegedly pull off one last mystery, when he one day just suddenly vanished from the facility where he was being kept without a trace. There was no sign as to how he could have escaped the secured area undetected, no trace of him on CCTV footage, nothing. It was as if he had just evaporated into thin air. That is where the bizarre tale apparently ends. The government came in and had the whole thing classified and buried, and that was that. Seeing as the case only seems to be talked about on a few conspiracy sites on Reddit, with no sources really given, and the whole government top secret cover-up angle played up to the hilt, there is a very likely chance that this is nothing but the stuff of internet legends and creepypasta stories. The result of some people getting a little creative and starting up unsolved mysteries that have never really existed outside of the imagination. Take it all with a grain of salt, but the story has made the rounds, and true or not, tall tale or otherwise, it is all pretty bonkers and eyebrow-raising all the same. Curious, huh?
So is it a rumor?
Is it just a apocryphal story made up, or is there indeed merit of this Smith astronaut that disappeared in space for several decades and suddenly reappeared and seeming to be reconfigured as he had several physical changes and then suddenly just gone?
You know what? Here's a really good question.
Okay. All
right. So how should I word this?
Not sure what the question is, so I can't help you.
Yeah. So how would you feel if all of the government secrets about these weird incidents, all these conspiratorial things were released to the public completely?
How would I feel? I'd feel...
Yeah, do you think that'd be a good thing, or could it even be a bad thing?
Well, with any information, like there's good uses of information and there's bad uses of information. So you can know how to split an atom, but then you can also know from that knowledge you can build a bomb or you can power countries. So it's like, there's good uses of information and bad uses. So I guess it's all up to the individual, right? You can.
True.
So I don't know. I think I'd be fine with it, I guess. It'd be nice to have some questions answered. I think that truth is important. And I think people can handle truth a lot better than they're given credit for. Like this whole idea that truth needs to be carefully administered and in certain ways to cause, to keep people from freaking out. I think that's a long, sad excuse because, again, we'll talk about the UFO phenomena. Many people believing it's real. Many people believing it's not real. The government comes out and says, yeah, we've got these Tic Tac craft. Here's the videos, or they were released in any regard. And the government doesn't deny it, and they don't know what it is. So essentially that's an admission that there are indeed UFOs, and they very well could be from somewhere else. They could be from here. They could be any number of reasons. But the idea is that if that information ever got out, the prevailing theory was that, people couldn't handle that kind of knowledge. It would undermine society as we know it. people would not know what to do. It would destroy religion. It would destroy faith in governments. And people were just like, yeah, told you. So all of that hype and worry about it was for naught. It was just, and I think it's just grand ideas in order to maintain control over information, and that's unfortunate. But
stories like these is why I would want to know, like did this happen or is it false? Things like that. Those interesting stories that come out of.
So let me ask you this then. Okay, so let's say tomorrow the government said, "Yep, that's a true story that really happened." What does that mean to you, or what does that change for you?
Good question. Because all it really does is validate it for me.
Right.
But before any of this, we all choose to put our faith into it, or maybe a little more against it, into stories. So all it really does is validate if your instincts were true about a story or not, or that type of thing.
Sure.
But it really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Right.
You're right.
And that's my point, is that, I know that I've experienced a lot of really weird things in my life, just a bunch, and I forget more than I remember. I've just seen so many strange things, and that's not a bragging thing. It's just been the course of my life for whatever reason, and maybe that was because I was supposed to start a Paranormal Portal, so that's why I needed to experience all those weird things. But I don't really care whether there's a government body that authenticates what I experienced or not, by releasing information or by releasing admissions. To me, it's still my experience either way. So I think in many ways, I think that our modern age has moved past the need for that advocation of a governmental body. It's like people know what they see, they know what they experience, and that's good enough. You still got to take some, claims with caution, because people love to make up stories. People love to be getting attention. There's lots of psychological reasons people may state things as well. But, at the end of the day, I know there are many strange things I've seen, so I don't have a hard time believing this could be real, because I've seen strange things. Not this particular phenomena, but I've seen lots of other strange things that I can't explain. So
absolutely.
I've just long since, I guess, resigned myself to the idea that anything's possible. We just, if it can be conceived in your mind, it could exist. It's just not even a far throw at that point. It's just, if you can think about it, if you think of a possibility, there's a chance it could be real. So
Android Purity says, in fairness, I think a lot of Americans still have no clue government disclosed they know UFOs exist, and some who saw the news don't take it seriously.
Yeah, there again, you've got to also allow for people's paradigms. There are people that really can't handle that information. That is true. Yeah. There are those people that just don't know, because once their lives aren't, 3 dimensions and secure and outlined and safe, then they become scary. And people don't know what to do with that. Some people don't, but most people, I think, do. I think we've progressed enough that most people can handle. Oh, we're not alone. Yeah, I kind of thought there must be something else out there. Makes sense. Okay, what's for dinner? It's just not.
Oh yeah.
It's not the earth-shattering epiphanies. Maybe it should have been. Maybe it should have been released with a lot of fanfare. There's a reluctance on certain media bodies to report or not to report things, and that can, of course, impede the flow of information quite a bit. From reaching different groups of people, but at the same time.
What I think? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I was a little too excited on that one.
Go ahead, because you only got a minute. So tell me what you think.
I forgot it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to close the show because we're down to 1 minute 38 seconds 37.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you remember?
No. I'll go ahead.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all the time we've got for you guys tonight. Again, remember, Lon Strickler will be joining us tomorrow night here on the show. Don should be here. If all goes well, he'll get himself shoveled to freedom, and we can dive into it again tomorrow night. But Lon Strickler will be here again from Phantoms and Monsters, the creator and host of Arcane Radio. Really looking forward to this interview and his presence on the show. So if you've got questions, get them all lined up to bring to the chat or possibly call-ins tomorrow. we'll be fielding questions as they come up, folks. But it's going to be a great night on the portal tomorrow night. It's a great night every night. Hopefully you agree. But again, for those of you that didn't hear, Happy New Year. We're glad you're here. We love you all. Sheldon, anything quickly in closing?
Yes, if you guys want to join the Discord, I'm just going to link it right in the chat so you guys can join up, get chatting with us, and ask any questions you'd like.
Perfect. That is perfect. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. Remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.